expectations here. Kindness flows with gentle boundaries. Freedom breathes within this circle. Open circle, we are here. Open circle, drawing near. We unlearn what once confined us. We remember who we are. Kindness given without condition. Freedom held with quiet strength. Open circle, we are here. Open circle, drawing near. You're welcome in this space. You are safe to simply be. Take your time and find your voice, or just rest in quiet presence. Open circle, we are here. Open circle, drawing Open circle, holds us now. Open circle,
Searching for the sun, searching for the space, searching for the peace. Breathe in through the open door. The water is turning still, finally reaching the highest hill, finally seeing it clear. I see it clear, clear, higher and higher, clear, clear, higher and higher, tidal waves turn to glass beneath me, looking down. Small houses like grains of sand, searching for the sun, searching for the space, searching for the peace. Breathe in through the open door. The water is turning still, finally reaching the highest hill, finally seeing it clear. I see it clear, clear, higher and higher, clear, clear. Soft, sharp surrendering, waking from a heavy dream, walking to the silver stream. Breathe in through the open door. The water is turning still, finally reaching the highest hill, finally seeing it clear. I see it clear. Higher and higher, I see the open blue, cold streams rushing down through the wild thickets. Birds on breaking, heartbeat waking, summit taking further from the sand. Salt in the air, sun on the skin, winding the path where the water begins. So
Hello, Matthew. Hello, Matthew. Pretty good. How about yourself? I I hear you great. You sound great. Oh, oh, no worries, no worries at all. Just some. Well, not really, not really, not as far as anything interesting here, but um, I wanted to come on really quick, and then I'll get out of your proverbial hair here very quickly because I have another video I have to kind of supervise. But I wanted to come on really quick because echo with visitor. Okay, I don't know. I muted the stream. Okay, hold on. I muted the stream. So what else do I have to do? Sounds better. Okay. All right. I'll have to stay on. I'll have to stay on here then. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I tried to go back and look at the YouTube stream, which might have been why. So on the tab I have here open with the VDO.NINJA, I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you. So okay, that's all right. Don't worry about it. Nah, that's a, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. What I was gonna just come on really quick about. First of all, um, I have to apologize for it was well intentioned. The last video I did, which was I guess a blessing and a curse at the same time. I mentioned your name because I like to recognize if I get an idea from somebody else, or if somebody else puts me on to a certain topic and not realizing how visceral and immediate the reaction would be from people on that topic, which I kind of blindsided me. I wasn't expecting just such a angry response, and I was quite taken aback that even people who in general are subscribed to my channel or watch my videos in the past were quite defensive about this topic, about the picture with the governing body. These cloudy, uh, shadowy. Yeah, right, right, right. And right away, I mean, it just seemed like people were trying any which way to either divert attention from that, whether it be attacking me personally, or putting the attention on me, how I looked, or because I was wearing a wife beater, or how I talk, or there were others with a little bit more finesse, that which I think in the end is all the same, that we're trying to use psychological terms such as apophenia and other things, that but in the end basically that no, there's nothing there, this is all, it's just conspiracy stuff, we're making it up. And so I thought, well, if I touch such a nerve with that topic, we must be onto something, because I'm very much a believer in a spiritual realm, whatever it might be, that there are forces that are behind these powers, and institutions and politics, and so evidently they don't like being outed. And that video amazingly just blew my mind, but it's, I think, just over 6,000 views right now. Yeah, It was about basically. Well, I showcased. I shared my screen and showed the picture that you spoke about because I'd never seen it. I'd never seen that picture about the governing body. That illustration, I should say, right? The illustration of the silhouettes of the governing body, and so it was something to the effect of what powers are really behind, because they say interestingly that they are spirit directed, which, as I said in the video, absolutely, I have absolutely no doubt, yes, that they are. They're not lying. That's the thing. They're not lying. But whose spirit though? What spirit is? And I think that you know, I made a video today too, just kind of following up, speaking to which I wanted to talk about right now too. This idea of apophenia, that they were just writing it off as, oh, this is Colin, you're just being foolish. This is just apophenia. It's you're associating, uh, you know, uh, images that you have in your head from the past, and you're seeing patterns that aren't there, and things that this happens, to everybody all over the world, and so Matthew, the thing that, like I said, I have this video coming out here in a little bit, about half an hour, and I pointed out the absurdity of that argument, because with apophenia, it's more common among religious groups, for example, that have had a historic background of imagery, very, very vivid, strong imagery that's a part of their worship. Uh, for example, with Catholicism, and people seeing the face of Jesus or the Virgin Mary in the bark of a tree, or on their countertop, or a piece of toast, things like that. And so I brought out the fact that, first of all, whatever that image is, and I don't know if I'm not up on all of the different spiritual things here, or spiritism, but it appears to be some kind of African inspired entity, or whatever it is, whatever it's from. And so I told them, number one, I think if there's any religious group that's probably the least prone to suffering apophenia, it would be us as witnesses, because we didn't grow up with any imagery. There are no crosses, there are no statues, there are no any of those things to really be like the Catholics. I went to the Catholic Church for 5 years, and the imagery is very important to them. Very, very important, very symbolic and powerful, and so you can see a person who's a Catholic their whole life might think that Mary manifests herself to them in some way, and that one thing. The other thing is, I said, if you look at my personal cultural background, a white kid who was raised in northern Minnesota, which was absolutely the most sterile environment as far as culturally. There was absolutely no diversity in my childhood as far as people of other nationalities or colors, or I did not grow up with any black people or Hispanics or Indians or anybody. Everybody was white. There was none of that, or thoughts of witchcraft or spiritism. Or so I think that, as I mentioned, you look at the picture and it's very plain. Anybody that looks at it, you can see a figure there. I looked at it without. Go ahead. Sure. Yeah. No, no, no. That's fine. That's fine. Hmm. Absolutely. Yes. 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 Okay. Good question. Thank you for. I can't see the chat, so thank you, Matthew, for bringing that up. Okay. Apophenia in psychology is the explanation of how people relate unrelated things. For example, images, common things. For example, I'll give you a simple example. Okay, making relations to unrelated things. For example, if you look at clouds in the sky and you see an elephant or any type of shape within this cloud, and is that cloud really that? Is it really that shape? No, it's simply your brain in its effort to make sense of this physical world that we live in. It looks for patterns. It looks for shapes and things that we can process and make sense of. That could be, you know, you might be in your bathroom and be sitting there and looking at the tile on the wall, and you might see a face. You might see a, and so that happens. And there's many. If you research information on this, there's dozens of different possible reasons why this happens. It can be mental reasons. It can be some say that it's kind of a collective consciousness that came from our ancestors, our cavemen ancestors, who, for example, survival meant recognizing an animal coming through tall grass, the movements of, or the wavy grass, or the things like that. Our brain associated patterns with certain things, whether they were real or not. And so that's what apophenia is. You know, it's basically, right. Yes, yes, yes. Right. And there was actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the pictures I was going to use, and interestingly, hold on a minute, I have to go back here. I couldn't, they wouldn't let me use it. I don't know if it's copyrighted or what the problem is, but it's that picture that, I don't know if you guys remember, where they took a picture, I believe it was with a satellite, of the Martian surface, and everybody lost their minds because there was evidently this face on the Martian surface. If any of you in the chat, if you haven't seen that, go to Google, type in face Martian surface, you'll see it. Now, that image was greatly manipulated, more than what it actually is. If you see the actual stripped down photo as the satellite took it, it's not quite as striking as, but you know, one could look at that and maybe say, oh, it was, you know, there's something there, there's a structure, it looks like a human face or something. So very, very similar to pareidolia. Yes, you're looking for, okay, look at the Martian surface, totally alien surface, you're trying to make sense of what you're seeing. So your brain is going to, there you go. Yes, correct. It's an old picture. Yes, yeah. Is it not recent? So, you know, your brain tries to associate, which of course can happen. It doesn't mean those things are real. I don't believe, the argument that I'm making is, I don't believe that's what's happening with the picture of the governing body. I don't believe it's a picture that that just anybody can look at it and interpret, oh, I just see a hamburger there, I don't see a face of a, no, you look at it and I amplify it. I said, this is a face there, and this has to be the person who drew this picture had to be conscious of that, and there has to be a reason for it. Either A, they were kind of under the table secretly trying to let people know who is directing this group of people, or B, another reason that would be completely plausible is they have to give recognition to these beings that are controlling them. Just like a religious organization may show a depiction of the Holy Spirit guiding their people, or Jesus or anybody else, because they're giving recognition to the fact that this divine force is pushing us. Well, they're doing the same thing, except it's demonic. And the Watchtower has been known for using imagery, and they're quite heavy on the demon side of things in their imagery. In fact, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Matthew, I think somebody mentioned it on your last live stream about it was very, very similar to that brochure that came out years ago about spiritism.
Yes.
And there's the African man who's sitting up in bed, and he's got these spirits around him, and he's just like terrified. Very similar to that kind of imagery. So it just going back to that, it seemed very, very interesting to me, the reaction that topic provoked in people.
It's mind-blowing that it's in the literature.
Yes. Yes. And the fact that knowing that, and people are still like debating it with me and arguing. And I said, guys, you look at the literature. There are, far worse depictions and pictures than this one. But you should look at that, and it should completely come together and go, oh yeah, well, this is obviously, and the interesting part is that the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses never, if you actually look at their claims, they never actually specifically said that they were guided by Holy Spirit. They've never said that. They always said spirit.
You are very used to the legal jargon.
Yes. Which is significant, right?
Yes.
This is significant because
this is the exposure now, isn't it?
Well, they're hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
They've never. When you look at it and you start going, well, yes. They say, well, yeah, but they've said they're spirit directed, they're spirit guided. Yes, spirit. There's lots of spirits, my friends.
and the one that they bring, the one that they.
Well, and listen.
Sorry,
guys,
I don't need to.
No, I know. No, it is hilarious because it just. I told the person who mentioned apophenia.
Yes.
When they said Colin, they said, "Oh my God, the apophenia is just running wild today," And I said, maybe you need to look up, since we're talking about psychology terms, you need to look up cognitive dissonance, because that you're seeing something, your conscience, your body, everything is telling you that something is there, but you're desperately trying to find another explanation. To say, no, it's not that, it can't be.
You see, I go to somebody like Stefan Schwartz, for instance, who's got the street cred. So you go to somebody like that where his information's peer reviewed, or you go to an industrial artist and you say, please take a look at this image. Tell me if this would pass for production quality. What do you spot as potential difficulties? And I give it to them cold. And you know what happens. And that's how we got the golem feedback. In fact, we actually got, I must try and remember the artist. I don't know if it was Gauguin, but he actually found an art piece that matched the overlay, which was really, and I was going, wow, you can pinpoint how this was done.
There you go.
Because I've seen
and that was the other thing that there were other people that are more secular, and that made comments on that video that don't believe in spiritism or any of that. And they said, "Oh, no." They said, we checked with AI and ChatGPT, and it said there's nothing there. I said, "Guys, listen. Yeah, oh my God. If you rely on
Yeah.
an AI source, which is it's not alive, it's not really. That's why it's called artificial intelligence.
Right.
It's a mimic of intelligence. All it can do is draw from information that's already on the internet, and
Yes.
it can look at the pixels of a picture and determine whether. So that's all it can do. AI
That's
cannot
right.
reason. It cannot analyze something and look why it's there, what's behind it.
Yes. So if they're looking at something like the more popular publicly available AIs, that's how they're limited. Or
Yeah.
of course, the ones that have what is called semantic recognition are a whole other level. But that's
Sure.
far
Yeah.
too frightening and far
Yeah.
too powerful to release to the public. But
It is absolutely.
yeah, so the way that they trained the semantic AI was through court cases. They because you've got all this variation of interpretation, and you've got these extremes. You've heard me talk about thesis, antithesis for synthesis. You've got these
Correct.
these arguments, shifting at completely different directions in a courtroom. And so
Absolutely.
they went, right, let's train AI on that. But you're quite right.
Yeah.
The present AI that they're referring to, no.
Yeah.
It's play
So I
stuff.
told the people that with it's interesting the choices that illustrator made, because I've seen it not just within the Jehovah's Witness religion. I've been involved with many other churches, like I mentioned, the Catholic Church, and also several
Yes.
different Protestant churches, among them Pentecostals, Baptists. I've seen many, many, many depictions of angels, Holy Spirit,
Hmm.
and none of them are that.
Yes.
None of them are remotely close to that. Whatever that is, what you mentioned about Gauguin, that's interesting. I'm going to look into that, because that piqued my interest. But there is, and I think all of us here know that there are some other darker forces behind the scenes there.
Yeah. There are psychologists that, of course, specialize, because people get into all kinds of psychosis and problems, and just like experimenting with substances, have a bad trip, and then they've got to get out of that psychosis or the loop or whatever's happened to them,
Yeah.
and try and reconcile and reintegrate. I mean, some of these things are just real loops. I don't know. How do you describe some of these things? Almost like getting caught in parallel realities and going, well, what's real? What isn't? What's the dream? What's real? I got into a mess here. Did I cause something to happen in my awareness, or it was my awareness that was reaching out? And people get guilty and tied up in knots with this, or there's some kind of religion that starts dictating, well, you met God, or you met an angel, or you met a demon, you were naughty there. So various psychologists have had to study these things to get humans out of these knots, and try and move forward. So you've got psychologists that have worked on, say, for instance, seances. And guess what, Colin? This thing of ectoplasm is mentioned in the JW literature. And I had the opportunity recently to ask a top-tier psychologist who works with historical seances and current information and patterning. And of course, they train to be highly skeptical. They exhaust all the roots before they start going, oh, okay, yeah, this is ectoplasmic residue or whatever. We've sent this, under a slide. What is the substance, And it's in the JW literature, so that picture that you locked onto, whether you want to say Matt Gray set you up there or, however, those detailers believe in it. They go, yeah. So I would check in with something that's or a facility that's reputable, like CIHS, California Institute for Human Science, or one of those kind of facilities, because they are very rigorous in their testing. Very rigorous.
Yeah, I had a couple people mention that. They said, whatever you're smoking, Colin, you need to. And I said, I've never
in on it, or you need to pull back.
Yeah, they told me to lay off on whatever it was. I was having a bad trip, and I said, I've never done any drug in my life, so you can cancel that out. It's not because of that. And I'm not. Of course, I was never making any affirmations of what exactly it was. I'm just saying that there's something there. And of course, that met right away with either yes, people could see, there's something, or it was complete attacking, Yeah.
And
I thought, wow, well, there's got to be something here, because
when you get baddies, you getting close, right?
Yeah. It's when you get that kind of response, then it struck a nerve with people. So I guess I have to keep digging and see what we can come up with.
Well, there's resources available. I think of Sean Esborn Hargren's PhD. So I would run something past a character like him, or with those kind of credentials. And like Stefan Short says, if you've got Matt Gray, who's been a pioneer out in the bush for 20 years, you going to listen to him? Nah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We need to put some other names on this, because if it's you or I, we're just crazy conspiracy theorists. And so that's not going to have much. But it is what it is. Anyway,
there is a paradigm shift. I mean, you've heard this phrase, right?
Yes.
And it's come about through greater awareness. These kind of discussions where, crazy Matt gets to yak with Colin overseas, and now you do get your PhDs locking onto it. Why? Because you've got greater incidence of these reports. And by the way, Colin, this was accumulating in service desk, these kind of reports, but it was just shelved.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily binned. It was just deep archived. So you've got UFO reports, you've got the drug reports, you've got your visitations, how do they put together that black brochure on spirits of the dead, for instance? How do they do that? So that comes from say your coordinators of your different branches around the world, or let's say through Africa or Brazil or wherever and they will work on that, and they will dig into those reports, and they will access it and pull it up and go, oh, that's your pattern. But of course, the information that they put together goes to research department and writing department, and you are not allowed to deviate from the set narrative. And it's like under pain of death, because when you're a consultant, they first of all, they will ask you for permission to record you, as a consultant. and then you'll get a code. So you don't know if you're talking to, say, for instance, a member of the governing body like David Splain or whoever, you know. So he's got a code, and the reason for that, because in certain circumstances they do allow for you to challenge completely in a different direction, but you're under a non-disclosure agreement. You're in a very, very controlled.
Exactly. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, and that was. I'm gonna end up being on here more time than I wanted to, but yeah, that was another thing that I showed them. Let's see here. You hear me? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's ask the audience. There's been a few comments. I think some were struggling with the sound a little bit. Oh, we've got Sheila. Remember
Hello,
Sheila, Colin?
Hello, Colin. Hello, Matthew.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah.
I'm very well, thank you.
So anyway, I have to go look at another video. I got to supervise one of my videos, so I'm going to leave you guys. Maybe I'll
Colin,
jump on later on. But
thank you very much for coming to the Open Circle, and it's really great to be in touch with you. The other side of the planet, you know.
Yes. Well, we're all over, aren't we? All
Yes.
over the place.
And
The
you're doing
marvels
great
of
work. So
technology.
thanks for taking the heat, and just thanks for
what we do.
supporting. Thanks for supporting the survivors and the surpassers.
Absolutely. That's why we're here. That's what we do. So we're heat shields, you know. So okay. See you guys in a bit.
Take
See
care.
you, Colin.
Bye. Well, it was really good to have Colin with us, and it's great to have you, Sheila. Thanks for joining in on the fun. How's the sound? Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
It's always fun in this circle.
We have all kinds of things happening in the Open Circle, don't we, Sheila?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. We've had some good chats. Last time, I seem to remember Blue Spheres was part of the discussion.
Yes.
But we got cut off, hey? We got cut off. Mama Sue says, but not you, Matt. Mama Sue, can you hear me all right? If you can, send me a thumb up or send me a little message if you can hear me. If you can't, say, nah, Matt, you sound terrible, and I'll work on. Yes, Sue, I've put subdued lighting if that's all right. I could put a light on, but it's late and my eyes are struggling, and I just need a bit of subdued light if that's all right. But if you really want the light on, I will put it on. Okay. For you, Sue, I'll put it on. All right. Hold on. Sheila, just bear with me. Gonna leap up and put the light on.
No.
Excuse me, everybody. Excuse me.
Is there nobody else joining?
You're on your own there, Sheila.
Yes, I know that.
Excuse me for a moment. Be very, very quick.
Claudia, Linda, John.
See how you can do with the stream, Sheila.
Oh, thank you.
It's over to you now.
I'll run out.
All right.
Matthew, Mama Sue.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Mama Sue said, "Oh no, that's okay. I want you to be in comfort. No, turn it off." She said you could. Mama Sue would like you to turn it off. Claudia's on her way to bed.
Well, I've done it now, Sue. Anyway, at least you know that when you put a comment there, I consider it. How's that? All right. And if it becomes too tiring for me, then I will just ask to put subdued light, but I'll leave it on for now. Sheila, it really is good being with you. I've just said that, but any news over there in the UK? Any interesting tidbits and things happening around the internet?
Only that in this country, things are getting quite difficult in this country with freedom of speech. You can't put a Union Jack up on the outside of your house or anything like that. The police will come and take it down. It's getting quite difficult. Everything's sort of being stamped out.
1984 Orwellian society.
Yes, yeah. They're bringing a lot of people in from other countries, and they're all fighting men, which is a little bit worrying.
Hmm.
Not a lot you can do. I know King Charles has gone across to America, and he's more or less set his stall out that he's very much with the Muslims.
Are you looking at the
what
comments?
Claudia's looking. Calm down, Claudia.
Sweet dreams, Claudia. Okay. Well, anyway, thank you very much for brightening the circle, Claudia. We appreciate that. Yeah, so those are worrying or concerning things, Sheila, that, you know, you put up a Union Jack that you would think is the same as the red, white, and blue of America, you know, where
Yes.
persons are very patriotic. You do that now in Britain. No go area. Isn't that
Yes.
interesting? Who's in control? You know, who's in control?
Well, it does
of
make
the
you
UK?
wonder. It does make you wonder.
Mm.
Listening to Colin, and I think I watched Lauren, the Insider, and who else is it I was watching? That they're becoming to acknowledge that there's a higher power ruling.
Yes. I think that is becoming apparent. Isn't it interesting how
Yes.
things are getting into clearer and clearer definition?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So what does this all mean? Is it all heading towards AI, a technocracy? Well, we'll have to see, eh?
Yes.
There is pushback.
There is a lot of pushback. There was somebody called Jeff Taylor that was talking. He was walking in the park. It was really nice to see him in the park. And he was saying about one of the parties that they will have a hard fight to change anything because they would have to go to the House of Lords to put some sort of a law in to stop what's going on. And he hinted that the ministers themselves may not allow it.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, I was talking to Adi, which I've mentioned before,
Yes.
that these there's some sort of stones that they've knocked down, and they were wanting only 500 million people on the earth, and they're going to sort of get rid of everybody else because there's too many people to govern. And then there was another one talking about, I'll say aliens,
Okay.
that they're already here in number.
Mm.
And they are trying to take over, but they realise they can't dominate people quite the same, and they're wondering whether to get rid of people so that they've got a more manageable number as slaves.
It sounds like a story from, you know, Arthur C. Clarke, Childhood's End.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
story like that, eh?
that's right.
Mm.
Who's this dad seeking truth? Who's dad seeking
Hello, Gavin. Yes,
Oh, it's-
you're welcome to come up and say hello. You're very welcome. So Gavin, what I'll do is I'm going to just drop the link again in the live chat. It is there in the description, but if you want to come on, feel free. Just watch out for headphones and YouTube or feedback loops with microphones and stuff like that, and you should be away. And if you want to cover your face or anything like that, you can do that. You've got a bit of control on VDO.NINJA. Or if you would like me to cover your face, I could do that. It's just up to you, whatever, however you're comfortable. But glad to have you with us, Gavin. Yeah. Yes, so Sheila, these narratives are very interesting, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
You know, where do you get reliable information from?
Well, there's definitely something going on. And no matter what name you want to put to them, it's still happening.
Mm. Mm. We have somebody that's joined us at the bottom. What I could do is I see that they have blanked their background. I wonder if I could put a small little picture there available. Let's see if I can do that. Silence scales. There we go. There we go. You've got our two guardians covering you. But welcome on board.
How's it going?
Yeah, so far so good. And how's it your side?
I had a really good day. I did my first interview with someone because I've got a thing called a Gavin show. I wanted to interview you. Just because I like your disposition, it's not judgmental. I think you're very mindful of how you speak, and I've yet to hear you say something negative. You know, it's quite refreshing actually, because sometimes when people, especially when they leave witnesses, they bash them, and I'm not quite into that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we want to try and dignify people to the extent that we can, eh? And be solution oriented, eh? Yeah, it's stuff, and in the same vein too, you've also got persons that have been so oppressed for such a long time that maybe there's been some illness, or maybe there's just been such sheer oppression that they got to speak out, and then there's the triggering, and you got to say, how long does it take to heal that? And you can't measure these things, eh? It's very difficult to measure. You can't always say, oh, well, it's going to take 5 years or something like this. For some, maybe it takes the entire lifespan.
Yeah, I must say you've got quite an in-depth experience in terms of what you were exposed to, even at a governing body level. It's quite something, actually.
Well, thanks for bringing in some positive energy, and I appreciate the compliments. Of course, there are ones who really have got access to a tremendous amount of information. So personally, I feel like I'm scratching the surface and relying on the community. Well, I say the open circle. I say you know, each one brings a piece to the circle, and somehow we become more coherent and able to come up with some kind of solutions. And I think it's also just being present and having, you know, some sort of dignified human contact, right?
What do you mean by dignified human contact?
Well, like what we're doing now. Because if you are isolated by, let's say, a high control group because you've overturned a liability, or you've uncovered some kind of liability, and they go, well, we've got a method for, you know, imposing a gag order on you, and it's called, you know, putting your family against you, or putting your friends against you, or removing your privileges, or whatever you thought was an investment for your future. I mean, that's powerful psychology, and it's not for good. You know, it's one thing to be caught with your hand in the cookie jar and go, well, I was naughty and I confess. But when it's now weaponized, shunning.
Now,
to protect individuals when they've broken both doctrine and law, for instance, then this isn't good. And this is what I think is getting to places like Norway state or Japan state, or to a lot of these governments where they are endeavoring to be driven by ethics. And I think it's the work that's being done in communities like this that's getting out, Gavin. I don't know. I could be wrong. What do you think?
Getting out with regard to what?
The information, people's experiences, where persons were silenced, and now it's coming out more. Does that make sense? Or have I lost you?
No, not at all. Yes, no, I'd say that's true. I think in the end, the only ones who stay are the truly compliant.
Or trapped. You know, some are perhaps fiduciaries and trapped. Maybe they thought they were inheriting a great privilege, only to discover that they inherited bad books and are trapped, which is a really lousy scapegoating situation.
Yeah. Do you know what I've been doing, like you? Because I see you've got a creative side. Did you do those paintings behind you, for one?
Yes.
Did you? Well done. They're beautiful.
This is a regular pioneer, or was a regular pioneer in the sign language.
Wow. Now tell me, how did you come up with your persona? You got like your own special look, like a Wizard of Oz. Well, you look like a cool Wizard of Oz. Do you know what I mean? Like a guru Wizard of Oz.
Thanks for that, Gavin. Okay. Gavin, I'll tell you how it happened. I got really sick. I got really sick. And it was a combination of things. I mean, I was being sent to very dangerous assignments, one after another.
Why dangerous? I mean, where?
Well, I was sent through Africa. I traveled to Sri Lanka, traveled through Africa, so Western Botswana, Lesotho, Swaziland, which is now Eswatini, some parts of Soweto. I was facing, R4 semi-automatics. It was very, very dangerous stuff.
What were you doing in there?
I was a JW,
No,
Gavin.
but as a JW, in what capacity were you operating?
Special Pioneer and Bethel Service, and Watchtower representative for Pennsylvania and New York, certified.
Did you know any people in Bethel in South Africa?
Yes. Yes.
Name some names. Did you know Dave Carrickas?
Dave Carrickas isn't in South Africa. He was retired to Fishkill.
Yes.
And he was on writing.
Yes.
And of course, I can tell you this because he's made public statement. His health is very, very bad. His disposition is really rough. I can drop a few other names. Franz Muller's still alive. Recently had a loss.
Goodness me.
Is it his brother? Okay, let me not guess.
Did you know Jimmy Kotsonis? Please don't say yes. I'll die.
Sorry, say that again, please, Gavin.
Jimmy Kotsonis.
Now, how do you know this person?
Do you know them?
Kotsanis. Yes. I know them very, very well. Incredibly well.
Oh my Lord.
Yes. Thank you. your reaction, I understand. Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Well, I'm going by your sighs, and I'm sighing as well at the same time.
Wow.
How do we safely talk about these things, Gavin? How do we safely do that? But okay, Gavin,
Wow.
let me tell you my experience. I'll put this on.
Can you believe we're on the same page? It's like mental telekinesis.
Yeah. I'm going to be forthcoming, Gavin, to save you trouble, right? Because
I appreciate that. Wow.
because I've got the records. I've got the records of how these people operate. And when they get caught with their hand in the cookie jar, this is when the system gets used to react to shut you down because you're too proficient. And I will quote exactly who said that. Cyril Hart.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord.
We were traveling companions throughout the world.
Wow.
Okay. And Cyril said to me straight faced, without watering it down, he says, "You've shown yourself too proficient." And I said, "Well, I was under instructions from John McBride to make sure everything was on the record, because the infiltration is just terrible." So you had, if you want to say your wheat and your weeds, can I put it that way? But persons will say, Matt, it was always the weeds. It was always the weeds in guardian positions since inception. We can trace it all the way to prior to 1879 when it was incorporated. So that's a whole other ball game. So if you want to go into psychological profiling, well, you've got your personal qualifications report. Sorry?
I was in the same school as Jimmy.
Were you?
I grew up with Jimmy. I knew Jimmy. We were both in the world together.
There's a certain profile that's looked for.
And I must tell you, if I close my eyes and I think of how do I know God's spirit is not there? I just look at Jimmy Kotsonis.
Gavin, I feel for you. I'm going to steer away from names and generalize.
Okay, fine.
And say that there's a certain kind of profile that's looked for.
What is
and yeah. So
that's terrible. The fact that you actually mention it is terrible in itself. But go ahead.
How easily it can be justified. What is it? The slave who is forgiven much loves more. You've heard that saying. So if you have somebody with a profile that is loaded, you can come up with this story where you go, this person has been forgiven much, and now we can link it to Moses. What did Moses do in Egypt? He even took out 2 Egyptians, buries them in the sand, according to the biblical record. Now you say to me, would I invite a Moses character into my home? The answer is no. I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to do that. I would want to make sure that there has been some genuine turnaround from this kind of life pattern. And it would take a tremendous amount to build up trust. And I take a place like Norway, because Norway has a pretty unique way of dealing with patterns of criminality.
I've lost all trust. There's no way of amending that trust.
Well,
all trust.
Okay, Gavin, perhaps I should say less.
Why? No, please.
because
I mean, no, speak freely. I mean, come on.
okay.
You know, I mean, we South Africans, man, we speak freely. Hmm?
Well, as
Well,
a South African, you are well aware of what happened in DB and how things were.
Explain it to me, please, because I might have got the sugar-coated version.
Well, detention
From
barracks.
Dave and do you know Marina Steve?
Marina Slovane.
Marina Steve, Moose.
No, sorry, it doesn't
Okay.
ring a bell.
It was probably too low key, but go ahead. You were saying?
So detention barracks, we were, looking after persons who were badly traumatized after that. Right? But it also produced a clique as well, because some of the things that were done there, some of the judgments that were done there in DB, you had very young people that were given incredible power, and they didn't make the right kind of judgment calls, and they essentially hurt people in a very, very bad way. I mean, it was already bad what was happening in DB with the psychological abuse that was being directed towards those that were in there anyway. So now to try and
were you in there?
No, I was stationed in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Near the Mozambican border.
Okay, because I was sentenced to 5 years because I left the Navy to become a witness, and I owed them 6 months and 1 year, so I got sentenced to 5 years. I was the last person to be sentenced, and then Nelson Mandela came into power.
And Nelson Mandela's first wife was a
witness.
JW, yeah.
Yeah, I read the book because I went to go to Robben Island, and we did a tour. But those days when you did the tour, the person who took us on a tour, he was the guy who said, "Hi, my name's so and so. I blew up Shell House and killed 250 people."
Sure.
That's how that tour started. But I tell you, by the time it was finished, I was crying uncontrollably. It was very powerful, very moving for me.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I read The Long Road to Freedom.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
Yeah, because Nelson said he can't wait for the kingdom to sort out these atrocities. And then you also had, well, I'm thinking of Guguletu and Desmond Tutu and the Truth and Reconciliation that was done down here. But it's very interesting that here on the peninsula you had, Bill Gates walking around, Prince Willie walking around here. Who else? Obama down here. So it's like a microcosm of what's going on in the greater world. You get to see it,
You seem a lot more relaxed than when you first used to come on. What's changed?
I was very well. Still dealing with damages, but I was sick, man. I was finished. I had Bartonella. Don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, it sounds like a Spanish drink.
Well, you get it from being homeless. I say, well, you get it from being a special pioneer and sent out into the bush with very little resources.
Why do they do that? Why do they treat those people so badly?
Because we knew of liability. We weren't supposed to come back. My partner didn't make it. That's exactly what happened. I've got his letter. His letter says, well, to his dying day, he's going, Matt, we need to correct what's actually happened in the organization. We need to just move on, and Jehovah will correct it in due time. Little realizing that he was being reassigned, and the idea was, I've got to be so careful how I word this, but yeah, he just didn't come back from this. Okay, I'm going to put this on the table. We were told we were not coming back. We were told these were our last assignments, which means that they knew exactly what they were doing.
Did they actually say that to you? Really?
Yes, they said you are not coming back from this
Why
assignment.
would they say that?
I'll tell you why. Because we knew of liabilities. We didn't fit the right kind of psychological profile, so they tried to put us into a marginalized situation. And okay, as soon as you have
why encourage you to become that in the first place?
Such a complex layer of
I'm
stuff,
listening,
because
I'm listening,
I
I'm
had
listening.
family also involved, right?
Mm.
So you've heard you are society property. You've heard this
Mhm.
thing. You are society property.
Mm.
Okay. So that means if you have agreed to walk the path of Christ, then you have agreed to be self-sacrificing. And if there is an order from this kingdom government to have a termination code, be it as a prophet, whatever, because you are a liability, then that is what the government can do. Just like any government could go to war with a country and drop a weapon and obliterate a town or a city like Hiroshima or what am I talking about? Yeah, Hiroshima. That's it. So if you have an international government that knows no borders, that goes into Russia, goes into anywhere it wants, and is this universal government, it's got its own law, it's got its own police, it's got its own spy network, it's got everything you would expect a government to have, and it has its own agents and it has its own termination code if it wants. Who's it going to answer to? It's a sovereign entity. You want to contest it? Well, then they're going to tell you that you're up against God. And this is why it's attracted attention of, say, for instance, Japan's state or Norway
Do you
government
think
state.
someone like Dave Carrickers could ever wake up?
Dave sadly is finished. And when you override your normal humanity, when you override that, then you've got to get medicated, right? And to quote Dave publicly, he said, because persons say, what were his exact words? So you have to go back to, I don't know, is it a year, 2 years, could even be 3-year convention where he was interviewed and he talks about his sinful body. So you have persons at that level that are talking openly like he was, that are medicated to deal with their sinful body, be it their mind or anxiety or depression or whatever it is, because they've been overriding things, because they've got to comply with the kingdom directives, which may override their natural humanity, which was labeled as their sinful nature, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what is Fishkill for? Fishkill was at one stage a retirement home. That was what it was. It was a frail care retirement home. Well, they don't want that anymore. That's seen its days. They want to make sure that there is no such thing as Fishkill anymore for that kind of purpose. But these ones have spoken up. They've spoken up publicly in conventions being interviewed, and they talk about their health and things like this. You would think that doing the best work in the universe, that they would be figures of health and figures of mental excellence, right?
Mm.
There wouldn't be this terrible deterioration that's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know,
sure.
might be wrong.
No, I think you're actually right. My son's still in with the witnesses because I brought him up to be one. He's 18.
Where is he? Is he in South Africa branch?
No, I'm in the UK. Are you in South Africa? Where are you living?
Oh, I've lost you there, Gavin.
I'm in the UK. Where are you living?
I'm Cape of Good Hope Peninsula.
Oh, lovely. No, I'm in the UK. My son's in the UK. I've been here for like 35 years.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, if he's anywhere near Manchester, JMOS, thank you very much. Sound is clear. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Sheila, thank you very much for coming on. Grateful for your presence, and of course, it's nice to be able to talk with Gavin here. Oh, there you are, Sheila. Sorry.
Yeah, all right.
I beg your pardon. Sorry about
It's
that.
all right. I just had to nip off for a little while.
Yeah, sorry, you just disappeared, and then I covered over the space. So sorry about that, Sheila.
All right.
And I've
all
just
right.
been talking with Gavin. I don't know if you want to say hi to Gavin. Gavin, have you
Well-
met Sheila?
No.
I'm in the UK, Gavin.
Oh, nice. Where are you based? I'm in Stratford-upon-Avon.
I'm in Lancashire, Blackburn.
Okay. Yeah, it's I think a couple of hours from here.
Yes. We used to have a caravan not too far away from you.
Oh, is that so? In what
Yeah.
part?
Wem.
Okay. All right. And how did you hook up into Matthew's website? Isn't he a colourful character?
Very
A bit
much
of a
so.
grey
No
area.
man, you quite a while.
You were telling us how you got to the image. You got ill, and then what? You just leave everything.
Sorry.
No, I was saying to Matthew. I was saying, how did he get his look?
I was by just getting sick, and I was knocking on death's door. I was finished, and by the time I sort of started reasserting and coming out of it, I had this big long beard. So I decided I'm not taking it off. Be like a
Wow.
Nazarite.
It is very good. He's quite autistic, I must say.
Yeah, it sort of
Standing like
fits
a
that.
prophet.
I just I kind of looked at it as a statement, because there was a young man in the congregation
Mhm.
who came from the UK, and he had a beard, and we had various ones, elders from the UK with beards, or different parts of the world with beards, and they were giving talks.
Mhm.
And it's funny you should mention Kutsanas.
Mm.
Anyway, let's move the story on. Hey, so this young man was doing exceptionally well in the JW congregation. I mean, an exceptional young man. He was doing all the work while the elders were playing golf.
Mm.
And anyway, so this young man, he had a beard on, and the public speaker had a beard. Anyway, the circuit overseer arrives and are discussing qualifications, and he says, "No, I've had to come down on this young man. I mean, you've got him as a ministerial servant. What are you guys doing using this person with this beard? It's completely rebellious." He says, "I've had to reprimand him publicly."
Mm.
And I was stunned. He tore strips off this person, humiliating him publicly.
Yeah.
And I was going, what happened to take a person aside and talk to them? I said, if you tell this young man to jump through a hoop, he will. If you tell him, shave off that beard, he will shave it off.
Mm.
But we've got elders here, and I believe on your profile, your WhatsApp profile, you've got a beard on yourself.
Mm.
He didn't expect the bulldog, Matt Gray, to be talking to him
Wow.
like this.
Wow.
And sure as anything, they looked at the WhatsApp, and there he is with a beard.
Wow.
And of course, it came off instantly. But you go,
Mm.
well, you know, what are you trying to hide here? And he goes, no, let me be humble here. Yes, I was on holiday with this
You know,
beard
the
on.
hypocrisy of it
Oh,
all is
it's
just
so
so
rubbish.
sickening. Honestly.
It's so rubbish. They're just bullies.
Hmm.
Anyway,
But we
he's
love you very much. But we love
Sorry?
you very much. Yuck.
Are
I
you
don't
talking
know.
to me, Sheila?
No. That's how we end the broadcast. We love you very much.
Yeah.
As you
Oh,
start
you know, when
throwing
they
up in the
say that,
bucket.
it makes me want to vomit. Honestly.
I'm sorry. I felt
We-
a wave of
we
trauma.
want you know, we love you
Now,
very,
Matthew, you're getting
very
silly.
much.
Excuse me. Let me count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sorry, Sheila. Gavin, are you still with us?
Yeah.
But yeah, basically bullying this young man. So anyway, when the circuit overseer got pushback from me, and started to see the elders going, yeah, Matt's got a good point. Yeah, got it. And yes, quite right. We've just used speakers with beards, all this thing. Circuit overseer says, right, you're going to go and tell the young man he's not going to be appointed, and you're going to tell him why. It's because he's got a beard. It's the world. You know, he's a worldly person.
Mm.
So anybody who pushes back gets that assignment, right? So anyway, I got to go and talk to the young man, and I'm going, geez, this young man is going to go ballistic because we tackled this beard thing. The organization wrote back, basically telling us we could wear beards in the congregation. I said, he's just going to lose it. He's going to lose it. We're going to lose this guy. I can see. And I said to the circuit overseer, I said, I'm going to tell him that it's your direction because you're overriding the information that's in our congregation file that came from service desk. This has been going on for 20 years, flip-flopping back and forth. I said, there is no doubt in my mind, if you tell this person to go left, he'll go left. You tell him to go right, he'll go right. This is just okay. He says, you do not, under any circumstances, tell him that it was the circuit overseer that blocked him. This is what he tells me. He says, you do not tell him that it's a circuit overseer. So I said, well, there's no information that's in print except at service desk level and at assembly level. Not even elders have that direction that you have. It's given orally in closed door scenarios. That's the service desk correspondence guidelines. That's the direction. So it exposed that, and I put it all down in writing, because the other thing that circuit overseers count on is that when they meet with elders, that there's nobody taking minutes. I always transcribed, and I transcribed because of John McBride's direction. He said to me, you just get everything down. Get everything down, send it back as a memo to the individuals who are dealing with the congregation with a heavy hand. He said, because now you've got a written record. So I was doing that, and it scared the living daylights out of these people. It was incredible to see. Absolutely incredible. And especially when I had been transcribing governing body members as well, and you know, this was endorsed. It was well
they're
known.
completely delusional.
It's fracture. It's fracture within the system, because it does rely on having some token good people and standing behind the token good people, right? It's out of hand. completely out of hand. So there's such fracture that's gone on. So anyway, when I got to this young man, he comes up scriptures, says, yeah, but what about the elders that are there with beards? This just doesn't make any sense, And I said to him, right, I'll tell you exactly who it is. It's the circuit overseer. This is his name. That's who blocked you. And here's the counsel, not from the Bible. This elder will tell you exactly what the direction is. Are you ready to hear it? He says, yeah. So the other elder says, here's your counsel. Suck it up. And I want to leave the room. I just want to leave the room. Going, well, now you've heard it. You've heard suck it up from the circuit overseer. He is rewriting the Bible. He is rewriting God's word, quite frankly. He's not telling you about service desk guidelines. He's not telling you about written guidelines that exist on assembly level that isn't even given to elders. Because it's compartmentalized. I said, you're a elder in training, ministerial servant. You have to take this beard off. Well, I'm going to give you the training now. This training exists all the way up to service desk level, and it works like this and it works like that. And I said, right, you want to train the guy? Let's give him the training. Let's tell him this is how it works. And you tell me if I'm giving him any information that doesn't exist on those levels, whether it's branch guidelines, circuit overseer guidelines, service desk correspondence guidelines. You tell me if I'm going beyond what's written. Go ahead, challenge you. That's when the beard thing changed. That's when the beard thing. I've got all the correspondence. So I got sick and I left this beard on, and I go, you know what? It just reminds me of how that got to the governing body. And of course, there was the Norway thing, and yeah.
What do you think is forcing?
I kept all that.
What do you think's forcing the change, and what other changes do you think will come?
The changes are coming from people like us.
But how does that change their minds?
Because of human rights dilemmas. Example, Norway. Have you been following that?
Yeah, but what's changing in their mentality?
Because now you get how can I say this? You get an abuse case, right? It gets to saturation point with law enforcement and civil cases. And your lawyers, your enforcement agents don't know what to do because they are caught now in the same double binds that the religious congregants or associates are bound by. So it creates a situation where, especially if like Norway is giving a subsidy as an incentivization towards the public benefits organization or to the religion, but because there's a human rights violation, they go, geez, how do we do that? We can't do that because we're under an ethical watchdog, right? But if we refuse the subsidy, we're caught in a dilemma or a double bind, catch-22 situation, because now we are discriminating against a religion. So we're going, yeah. So you know how that happens? It happens when you get your congregants or your associates that are caught within double binds who've been the cost, who've had to bear the cost, and now it's spilled over, and now it reaches the state level. That's how that happens. Have I lost you? Does it make sense?
Yes.
Then get what happens in Japan or Hamburg. That touched me closely, Hamburg, because one of my students narrowly escaped the Hamburg incident. Okay, but look what happened with the religion that was formerly called the Moonies, the Unification church,
Mm,
right?
mm,
So how did that occur? It occurred because you can psychologically control an individual to a certain degree, that you can create a fanatic, that you can create a mentally imbalanced individual. And so that tragic situation, which now touched Japanese government, they do an investigation into the psychology, and they pull up something like Stephen Hassan's work, and they go, this is a match. This is a match. We're quite aware of that because this is how governments work themselves. We've got like a parallel government at work here in these religions. We need to do something about that. And of course, that had your knock-on effect with Jehovah's Witnesses. So they went, oh, you know what, we better start showing leniency towards higher education so that we can deflect some of the heat of some of our psychological methodology that we're using to control people, so that we can essentially have them building for us and keeping the real estate enterprises and all the other subsidiary enterprises still going. I mean, it's not just like one corporation or two corporations or three corporations or offshore accounts. It is a huge network, massive network, thousands of companies.
mm,
Think about somebody supplying soap towards Bethel's.
mm.
There's okay, I shouldn't name, but purchasing department, right? You're not
Yeah.
supposed to have insider information. You're not supposed to get onto Admin 2000 or the hub system and see what the price of soap is. But that's exactly what was happening. It's exactly what was happening. So you guys getting on there, how much is a toilet roll? We'll just undercut. We supply an entire region, Botswana, Lesotho, Eswatini, South Africa branch toilet rolls. The guy's now driving around in latest Mercedes-Benz.
Mm.
You tell me what you saw at South Africa branch. How is it that a printery overseer is able to go around in a Jeep Cherokee or, fancy pants Jeep, brand new? How's that done?
I wrote to Dave Carrickers, and I questioned COVID,
Yeah.
and he came up with such a pathetic
Oh, crumbs.
argument. But he basically said to me, he says, you can see that the real issue is me,
Huh.
and that I've completely, like respectfully was saying, I no longer recognize anything in you that resembles a spiritual man.
All right.
You're that far removed.
Carrickers
went
trained
away
me,
and-
hey?
Genuine.
Yep. Showed me,
How?
yeah.
In what ways? Please tell me more.
Well, the whole process of literature production.
What is that?
Well, so you get an outline, and you've got to populate that outline. So it might be, let's say, an article on prayer, and you populate it. You go to the older publications, and you update it on the populated outline. You send it into research department and writing, which used to be Splain. It's now, who is it? Schradel. Schradel's now the overseer. Franz Schradel. Okay. So the Splain used to be heavily involved with that. Not so much now. But Franz Schradel is. And so that would go off to research and writing department, and they would basically give you thumbs up or thumbs down. There was a time that governing body would have different colored pens and read through it. It's not like that anymore. A lot of it's AI. A lot of it's the whole writing department has changed. I mean, in South Africa, it's basically down to one person.
Is it?
So that enormous department is now essentially one person.
Genuine.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's been a huge cutback. I mean, the literature now is being recycled tremendously, and it's a lot less in the actual publications. It's like half and halved again. No, it's yeah. But anyway, you asked me about Dave. That was what Dave was teaching me, almost like I can't remember, 200-step process to, from start to finish.
Mm.
You know,
But was he clinical? I mean, did he did he just see everything as absolutely good and perfect? I mean, did he believe in all of that? Was he signed up to it all?
oh,
Did he
he's
think
one of those
this
very
is
soft-spoken. Hello, Kevin. Let's talk to you in soft tones. Soft
Mm,
tones, but
mm, mm.
yeah. Anyway, so yes, I learned about the processes from start to finish from Dave Carricus. I mean, he was in South Africa for how long before they shipped him out to the States, right? Who was another one? Jack Jones with MEPS.
Mm.
So he was South African. Shining as Illuminators was done here in South Africa.
You see,
You do know that, right?
No, but the funny thing is, when I finally woke up, I spoke to someone by the name of Jenny Stockhoff. Do you know her?
No.
She's just one of these exceptional women. Married to a friend of mine, Mark Stockhoff. They used to be in Bethel, but they're wide awake. And
Did you say Finlayson?
no, Jenny Stockhoff.
Oh,
Anyway,
Stockhoff.
the thing is, when I sent her the letter that Dave sent to me, and she said, Gavin, it's actually total bollocks. He's talking total crap. And then I knew. When I woke up and I looked back on it and I looked at his excuses, you know what I mean? And I thought to
Yeah.
myself, wow. And that the fact you could be so clever, so bright, and not see what their involvement was in this vaccine thing, where spirituality was tied to whether you took a vaccine or not. How you can close your eyes
I
to
think
that, I
they
don't
did know. And I'll tell you why. Because prior to 2019, did you ever meet Jennifer Tansky?
No.
When did you leave South Africa?
I don't know, 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Anyway, Jennifer Tansky was a Canadian doctor, JW. They knew prior to 2019, and I'll tell you why. From the H1N1 and so-called Ebola story, and South Africa branch had its own pathology. You know that, eh? Yeah, had its own pathology. And they knew before, and I was getting hold of my friends. I was going, we have planned for this ahead of time. You already know how the cell lines work. You know that. The Catholic Church is up in arms about it. So much so. Am I still with you? Can you still hear me, Gavin?
Yeah, I can.
I can hear you.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Can you not
Okay,
hear me,
Gavin.
Matthew?
Okay,
Can you hear me?
I sort of can. Oh man, come on.
I can hear you. Hello.
Okay, Gavin, got you. Okay,
Okay, cool.
thank you. Sorry about that, Gavin. So, have I lost you again? No. Come on.
No, I can hear you.
Please
I
work.
can hear you.
So Gavin, they knew about this prior to 2019, and the persons I trained got into positions of oversight, and I said, right, now is the time that we make sure that this thing about cell lines is out in the open, because we can see that if the Bethel was to get its purchasing department to replicate the proprietary ingredients for producing these medicines, that we'd all be disfellowshipped. We can't do it. You know that. It's unethical. And we're getting questions from congregants right now about these things, even about flu shots, just the flu shots, that are saying, how do we reconcile production ethically? And also this thing about 75% of blood fractionalization. We're still having to obtain it from a blood bank on massive scale, right? If the Bethel was to do this, there would be none in purchasing that would not be disfellowshipped or disassociated. But because it's the world that's doing it, how can we justify this? No, they knew about this. They knew about it. They really did. And so I've got all that in writing. I've got all that correspondence in writing. I was allowed to have that as an anointed elder. I was allowed to have that information. So it's not like it was off limits. I was allowed to have that information.
You were an anointed elder.
Yes. I'd passed the personal qualifications report and was on the inner circle. That's why how I came to be a...
How do you become anointed? What actually happens there?
Really working. Gavin, are you still with me?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So yeah, Sorry, this thing is really breaking up. Always when we get to these deeper discussions, we get these sound problems. Okay. All right, it seems to be back.
Hello.
Gavin, are you still sort of with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, okay. Hi, Gavin. Sorry
Cool.
about the technical
It's fine.
difficulty that I just got switched off for a while.
So you were saying?
Yeah, so it's all in writing, this thing about cell lines. Remember that Massimo Intervene was a consultant,
No,
right?
how did you become anointed elder? How did the whole thing work?
How does the whole thing work?
Yeah.
So do you remember 1985, there was the blue book, was it United in Worship book?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? It's got the chapter in there before it was updated.
Yeah.
I make a covenant with you for a kingdom.
Yeah.
Well, who was talking there?
Jesus.
Right. So he says, I make a covenant with you for a kingdom. So do you respond to it or not? So I responded. Simple as that. There's no strange thing. That was it. It was.
And do you still hold by that?
Well, I'd like to believe that my spirituality has grown. You know, so I say I'm eclectic because I can take a look at all of these systems and I can integrate all of these systems, these beliefs. So it actually hasn't changed.
Mm.
So you could put me on a polygraph and I would pass it.
In what respect?
You ask me a question and it'll come up, it'll come through clear.
In terms of your absolute positivity and...
Yeah, because what happened... Okay, let me change the words. Let me change the words. So from JW words, let me change it to other words. So we've got Linda James. That's the thing about being one of the anointed one just knows. So that's the correct way of dealing with it in JW society. But if you now put it into universal consciousness, now what? What happens at death? Is there survivability of universal consciousness? Yeah. So is that heaven? Yeah. So you can rationalize that. Now, I'm very careful about this, Gavin, because this gets into religious dogma. And there are certain things that I'm not necessarily going to go into too much detail because we'd looking after persons who've survived spiritual abuse. But I mean, yes, I was one of those anointed based upon the message given to me using the Blue Worship book. And they the PQR in JW Society, there's different levels of PQR, personal qualifications report, and they run you through them all. It's basically like a psychological profile, very similar to something that you would do at Thomas International, right? So if you're familiar with Thomas International, you can't lie on that. You can't lie. It'll pick up your psychological profile, and by law they're supposed to read it out to you. But yeah, I passed it. They got very excited about it, and that's how I got into the inner circle. So we had the jubbers.
So what do they, how
staying
did
with
you
us.
pass it? How did they give you the test? What happened?
Well, personal qualifications reports done on the quiet, but they would do it every 6 months.
Looking for what?
Any kind of deviance. It's almost like a Scientology audit. It's almost like that, except it's just done psychologically. Yeah.
But how do you
There's
get,
nothing
like,
mysterious
how do you get
there.
elders or like half-wits themselves to be involved in something complicated when most of them are thick as bricks?
Yes. So look, I mean, for a lot of the circuit overseers, like the personal qualifications report, they weren't to surpass intelligently like the branch committee. So one of to get a circuit overseer to pass, he would have to show intelligence lower than branch committee. Does that make sense, Gavin, or I've lost you?
Lower than branch committee.
Yes. He must not show an intelligence higher than branch committee, because branch committee cannot afford to have to deal with somebody that exposes them the whole time and challenges them the whole time. So the intelligence level must be lower than the branch committee. If he shows an intelligence that's higher than that, then he's compartmentalized and marginalized. He's sent somewhere else. Because the branch committee just doesn't have time for that. They just don't want to be hassled with that kind of rubbish. Get out.
And who structured this whole thing that it's so sophisticated?
What do you mean?
Who has structured this whole thing? It's so sophisticated because it's really run by things that are happening behind closed doors, and with what purpose in mind?
Well, it starts in the early 1800s. You could even say it even goes further than that. It goes further than that. I mean, okay. So if you want to have a more modern way that's been updated, take Rutherford. So what was Rutherford proficient with? Law.
The law, predominantly.
Yeah.
That's it.
So he comes in, he basically does a company takeover, and that was how it started. And then it's just kind of changed hands like that, and it's become more and more proficient over 140 years.
But do these numpties at the top believe that they are the anointed ones? Do they actually believe it?
Your psychological profile gets through, absolutely. Yeah. The information is power. It absolutely is. Information is power.
Who's controlling who? Is it someone controlling the governing body the other way around?
Yes, this whole planet is under the same control, Gavin. You know that. I mean, it's not a mystery. So you're not allowed to have genuine love. You're not allowed to have genuine joy. You're not allowed to resonate with your intuition. You're not allowed to do that. How dare you? So it's basically a pyramid control system. This has been going on. This isn't just 1800s. This has been going on since antiquity. You want to talk about Egypt? the same kind of pyramid control. You go into a business meeting, right? What is this one at Stanley Theatre, right? You go in there. As you go under the door, there's the pyramid. There's the pyramid and the needle. As you go under the door for the business meeting. If you're one of the trusted ones, you will get one of the old Finnish mystery books with the seal, because that's for the consecrated saints, right? So if you are of the genuine anointed, you will get the seal. You'll be handed the seal. You'll actually have a physical seal. There you go. It's both
So what do you
physical
mean? I
and
don't get it. Just say that again. What do they give each other?
so you would have had a copy of the Finnish mystery, right?
Yeah.
So what's on the opening cover of the Finnish mystery, like the little black one?
I can't remember.
So it's got a seal to the consecrated saints. So it says on behalf of the consecrated saints. Sheila, we've kind of excluded you, haven't we? Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Beg
It's
your
very
pardon,
interesting.
Sheila.
No, it's a very interesting discussion.
I got swept away with that, and I
Well,
apologize.
no, it's all right. No, don't feel left out. An interesting discussion.
You're very supportive, Sheila, and you're very important to me.
Everybody on the chat is. Everybody on the chat is.
It's true, and
I just feel like a bit of a spare part.
I like to try and keep balance, and I realize I've been caught out. Sorry.
No.
Garen, we're going to have to talk sometime, and you know, one of the things that we were planning to do, and it's why I did the walk, was I have a propensity for getting into very complicated things.
That's okay.
And
not a problem.
And the Wednesday, I kind of had the goal of just being very inclusive of everybody. And it was just supposed to be a walk and music and get the friends together, because what was missing was we had really great what we have. We had like Fran and Joe, for instance, Sheila, right? Yeah. And it was great during the week just to listen to Joe, you know, rattle off about some of his talks, and he gave really good talks. But we had a sense of camaraderie, which was missing. And then, of course, they did go to, I don't know, Skype or Zoom tonight, and some have gone there. But some were saying, "Oh, can we just get together, just to talk in a light way?" And like Mama Sue says, Matt, your words are far too complicated. Can you kind of just bring it down a few notches? And I realized, you know, yeah, we can get into all these nitty gritties of the technical side, and it does have its place. But the idea here was also just kind of saying, let's just have good company.
You know, I've been making my own music since I've seen you do yours.
Okay.
And can I tell you what incredible stuff I've done?
Oh, yeah.
One of the things is I've taken Kingdom songs and made it my own. Would you like me to send you one of my Kingdom songs? You want to play it?
Send me one of your Kingdom songs, Gavin. Send it to me on my email if you don't mind.
I'm going to send you the link. It'll take you straight to the Dropbox, okay?
Okay. I'm not going to do it now, though.
No, play it. I'd like you to play one.
Gavin, it's beyond my technical ability at the moment.
You think? Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I just want to keep inclusive of the persons here, like Sheila and Linda and Sue and all these ones.
Play it so everyone can listen?
Say that again, please, Gavin.
Aren't you able to play it so that everyone can listen?
I could do that. I'd like to have it set up properly. And there is a way that I can do that.
See what you do. Okay, give me a second. Let me send you the link.
Okay. Sheila, so there we go. Yeah, so want to be inclusive. Is there a way that you would like this to improve? What do you think the real needs are, Sheila? Been meaning to ask you that.
It's quite difficult when you get someone with what can I say? He's got quite strong feelings. I understand where Gavin's coming from, and he's very interested in what's happening. But we're in a very mixed company as well, as you've alluded to, and I don't really know what to say.
Linda James has been making comments. Says you two need to keep in touch.
Yes.
Linda James, you're right, and we actually are in touch.
Possibly on another platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I tried to do the Wednesday. The idea was to be a bit lighter, and then of
Yes.
course
What's
the
your
Saturday
name
was
again?
like Peps, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Gavin,
Yeah.
so you see my name, Matthew Mealy Gray.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got it. One sec. One sec. It's coming to you now. Wait.
Okay.
Right, there you go.
All right. Thank you, Gavin.
Play it, buddy. Play it.
Gavin, really, I'm not kidding. I just want our sound not to have echo, and I'm not avoiding this because I don't want to play it. I just find it technically challenging just to not even have echo on this thing.
Okay, no problem.
So may I ask permission from you? May I weave in this piece of music if there's an opportunity? I'm going to look into putting it on the channel. Have I got your permission to do that?
No, of course. No, go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
I've done 4 songs.
Okay. So I think, Gavin, you did write to me on email before, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Yeah, and you were keen to interview me or something like this. Why don't we set it up for that particular time, Gavin? And then
let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm just getting onto StreamYard. I just applied yesterday, so it should be forthcoming pretty soon.
Okay.
But now that I'm in contact with you, it'll be easy.
Let's do it that way. Now,
Yes,
Linda
the
James
thing
is
is,
giving us a good piece of advice. She says you may get a copyright strike on the channel. So I'm going to avoid that because I know.
I won't, because you'll hear when you listen. Decide for yourself when you listen to the music.
Yes.
Then you'll know. Okay.
So Gavin, I do trust Linda James's intuition about this because it's happened to her.
Okay.
The system just is indiscriminate. As soon as it picks up a signal that was from you, that belongs to you, it then puts a penalty onto my channel. So I think the safest way I think we can do this is let's do something on when you stream, and I will support you. All right.
Well, but you can download the song. Listen, I've been playing the song forever. It's nothing. It's just original. I'm doing it through software. It makes it authentically originally yours. It's yours.
Okay.
But nonetheless, listen to it and you can establish for yourself. But
I'll listen to that. But thank you very much for that, Gavin. I appreciate it. I've just got to be careful, and I do trust. Like Linda James will see, hey, Matt, you've included these words or you've included this. And I go, you know what? She's been doing this for a long time. And I really do trust that advice. So I kind of feel like a bit of a toddler.
No one talks to you. You're not dissociated.
Well, I wrote to the organization and said, I'm in permanent repentance. So how can you remove somebody in permanent repentance? The reason why I was removed is very, very clear, and I didn't isolate myself. The reason why I was removed was that I uncovered a liability, and they were not playing ball. They got caught out with a legal problem and a potential liability, which is all on the record, and they haven't resolved it. So they may say Matt Gray's in that condition or whatever, or they were removed or whatever. and make it very, very difficult for me. Or they might say, if I rock up, they will, what do they say? They will declare me trespassing or whatever. And I go, but at what point in time? As soon as you look at the records, you can see exactly when you became combative. So I just made sure that I was never isolated. But Gavin, if you say to me, can you see what's happening there that's really harming people? Yeah. Can you support that? No, I can't. I can't support that. I can't support it, Gavin. So that's the situation. So it took me time to really take it to that extreme level, which put me at odds, I suppose, with what I say is the healing community, because they go, Matt, you're still right in the middle of this, and it wasn't a clean break somehow, or it's a mess. And I go, yeah, well, but then I should be representing, I don't know. I think it represents where there is an important frontline break in the system. I don't know, Sheila, I want to involve you on this without making
Did
it
you know
awkward for
Gerard
you.
LaRue?
What do you think? Is what I'm saying just sounding like rubbish? Does it make sense?
No, it makes sense.
Did you know Gerard LaRue?
Gerald LaRue.
Yeah.
It's ringing a bell. LaRue. Oh. He's one of the writers now. Mornay. Is Mornay his son?
No, Gerard LaRue, and then his brother was in Bethel. There were two LaRues, the older brother and Gerard used to work in the machine shop, welding and things like that.
Okay, got you. Because there's also a Mornay who's now in writing department.
All right.
Oh, I've lost you.
Wow, it's quite a big joke, I must say.
Okay, just been looking at the chat. Linda James has hung on there. A few others have been there. Mama Sue, you've hung on for a long time. Good to have you with us. Who else have we missed? But we've had some really good support. Anna, thank you very much for being with us as well. Appreciate that. And of course, Claudia. Of course, Claudia's in Germany. So anyway, thank you for being here. Really grateful for that. I see that there's questions about this anointed thing. I did put it on my channel, and I did answer that whole question in more detail on my channel. It's not like I've avoided it. I did put it there, but what happens is I think this information gets lost over time, but it's there. I've made commentary about it. Sheila, we have been going on for over 2 hours.
Absolutely. I'm looking at the clock. 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Yeah. Do you think we should sort of wrap up? It's been pretty interesting with Gavin, and I can sort of.
Well, I'm going to say good night. And,
Gavin, let's be in touch. And I like your idea about doing a stream or something. Just let me know what you would like to do. I did send you an email.
Okay, I was. The thing is, what I'd like to focus on, in essence, in a nutshell, because I think you are an amazing resource because of the insight that you have. But what I do like is you are aware of how you communicate. It's tempered. There's nothing vitriolic, and I think in anything, the main thing for me is if I do speak to anybody, I don't want to use it as an opportunity to bash witnesses at all.
Sure.
No.
But if you feel that there are elements, that you can share to give people the insight and help them understand certain things, then it would be lovely, if you know what I mean.
Well, maybe I should do that. I did start off on starting to release some of the correspondence. But I could see that there were people in need, and my stuff starts getting very complicated, and like I see Sue's an important person here. Everybody's an important part of the circle. I think of Linda James. Linda James does a tremendous amount. Sheila as well, Claudia. So there's many that come into the circle that are just wanting to, hang out and all this story. And my stuff can be quite intense. Maybe I need to start releasing it just as chaptered videos or something like this, and then keep this open circle alive, just for persons to still connect with the friends, and have that as a resource. But Gavin, I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface yet, and I think you are an interesting person, and I can see in the comments persons are really enjoying you coming on. And
that's nice.
Let's stay in contact, Gavin, see what we can build together. I'll do my best to be careful, and I'll do. Sorry, say that again.
Even if I come on your show a few times and say hello, because, but I am setting up, and I'm just going through one or two things, which is very complicated at the moment. And I thought to myself, I got to reach out to some people who I've got to, because I think from how much I've seen of you, I do feel like you've earned my respect.
Oh, thanks very much for that, Gavin. Let's see what we can do for also the people. I hear what you want to accomplish, and I want to accomplish something similar. But I can't subtract the people. I look at the people here, and
that's fine.
And I go, they're really exceptional people. Really exceptional people, Gavin. So
why do you think they'll somehow be excluded or something? I don't understand.
Because sometimes it just gets too complicated when I start launching into the legals, and I start launching into the deep psychology of things.
Yeah, but that's who you are. I'm saying, I mean, part of coming on the channel is just people being comfortable with you and who you are. You shouldn't try to be anything else. Just be yourself. Be your authentic self.
Sure. Look, I have a policy: every step forward, make 3 steps towards ethics. So I like to be inclusive. Let me try. Anyway, Gavin, I'll think about what you say, and I'm working on it. I'm working on it as much as I can.
That's the beauty, is that do you know what my goal for 2026 is?
Tell me, Gavin.
To feel accepted by God, because I've never ever felt accepted by Him as a Jehovah's Witness.
I think you already are.
Do you know, all I ever carried was shame, because you're forced to put on a thing that they denigrate, because when you think of what Paul's speaking about, he's speaking of a new creation.
Yes.
It's a new man, but they turn that into a new personality. It's nothing remotely what the Bible's actually talking about. It's their construct that they want you to conform to. And so you actually spend the entire life trying to be something that you're not, because you can't exercise your autonomy. You can't actually present your authentic self. It absolutely quashes and destroys everything about who you actually are.
Gavin, thank you very much for being on the show. And like I say, I think we haven't even scratched the surface of the important things that you can share with us. And I would like to hear from you again, if I may. Please keep in contact.
Sure. Okay,
let's wind down. Is there anything that you'd like to say just in conclusion before we go to Sheila?
Just that besides coming to feel relaxed in front of God, one of the things that I'm begun to experience for the first time in my life is love for people. Because I've never really been able to look at people and really love them for who they are. It's pretty narcissistic if you think of it in your mind. You could think of people as just fodder, waiting to be destroyed. I mean, that is so unhealthy
Mm-hmm.
because you can never look at the person and see the beauty within. And
Yes.
people are beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a freedom where you can be your authentic self and you can actually look at people and appreciate them for who they are. And they don't have to be the same. There's just no requirement to say everyone must fit a particular mold.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the real sad parts of being a witness is you lose yourself.
Yeah.
And when you come out, you now have to find yourself again because you have to say, who am I actually? It's quite something.
How
Well,
long
thank
have
you,
you been
Gavin.
out, Gavin?
I woke up with COVID
Right.
because when COVID came, I thought to myself, and unfortunately, I took one shot, but then I contacted some of the major scientists in the world
Mm.
and I asked them personally, is AstraZeneca on par with Pfizer?
Mm.
And they said, absolutely yes.
Oh.
So I only took one. And then I realized that it was not zoonotic, it was man-made for many, many reasons.
Mm.
And I thought to myself, because then I got wind of all the letters that were written to elders and all that kind of stuff. And they were giving all those warnings that if you didn't do this, you couldn't go to pioneer school, you couldn't do this. So I thought to myself, they're actually basing spirituality on whether you take a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that can't be right.
Yeah.
How do you go from exercising your conscious and your free will, as part of the whole person,
Mm.
in being informed, having informed choice when it comes to blood transfusions, and then when it comes to the vaccine, there's not even a need to be informed, where you don't even want to look on a piece of paper to see what's in it. And I thought, hold on a moment, something's wrong. And then lo and behold, I woke up, and you know what's so interesting? When I went in to say goodbye to one of my very closest friends, because I knew it would be goodbye to everyone, because I haven't spoken to anyone in 9 years since I've been shunned, including my own sister, will never ever talk to me again. But the interesting thing is, when I called over my friend and his wife, and I said, I want to tell you why I leave. And it almost felt like God was with me when the next words came out of my mouth, because I didn't expect it. I said, the reason I'm leaving is because of the governing body.
Yes.
Sure.
And I've realized that the governing body are a wicked, evil slave. Oh my Lord, the look on these two people's face. He immediately burst into tears, and she immediately took a teacup and put it down hard in the tea saucer, and that was the signal to him. It's time to
Yes.
go.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
we're talking close friends. I thought these people were my people. I thought they loved me.
Yes.
And he said, Gavin, listen. He says, you shouldn't say that. He says, there's one thing you can never do. You can never bring that subject up, because that subject is very close to my heart. And his eyes were wet. And I said, yes, John, I know that. And I wanted to tell you up front, my issue is with them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that was it. It's the end of that day. The allegiance to those men is incredible.
Yeah.
They are actually giving allegiance to men that should go to Jesus Christ.
That's right. They are.
Yeah. We'll share a few things. I'd like to hear more from you, Gavin, but thank you very
Okay,
much
bro.
for that nice rounded up comment. Thank you very much for that. But please, we'd like an opportunity to hear from you. I see Linda James is sending you compliments there.
Oh, thank you. I
So,
can't see anything.
well, it says, where is the comment? Just that they enjoying your contribution. I can't see where it is, but I find it very interesting. Gavin's been watching, and they're just enjoying your input. So anyway, thank you very much for that.
Yeah,
Sheila.
one of my friends who introduced me to you, his name is Adriano. Do you know him?
Adriana, no.
Oh, he's a very, very beautiful soul, a very sensitive person, who also has been emotionally abused by the society. He's got a very sad story to tell, and he's one of those people who really hurts, because the people who hurt the most are those who believe the most.
Yes.
There were such sincere, open, giving, beautiful people willing genuinely to give everything of themselves to God.
Absolutely.
And it's such a realization when you come out of being a witness, because one of the questions I've always asked myself is, does God know I love him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he does, Gavin.
You know what I mean? Does he know that I
Mhm.
actually exist? And I've got to tell you something. If I have to tell you my story, you won't believe it. I've got to tell you something. Yet when I prayed, I was in the Navy and I prayed to God for the first time in 11 years.
Mhm.
And I used the name Jehovah, and I said Jehovah because I was playing pool with this guy, and he was losing, and I teased him, and he beat me up with a snooker cue. And when he beat me up with that snooker cue, I just sat on that snooker table and I prayed to God, and I said, I've had enough. I want to come back to you. And I was in the headquarters, the naval headquarters in Pretoria, and I decided to hitchhike back home because I had broken my leg because I got into this massive vicious fight where I tore the ligaments and I tried to kick this person in the face. And so at the time I was at in a naval headquarters in a senior officers mess where we actually served by waiters. It was a 4-star hotel. I managed to find my way in there, and so I had a lot of freedom of movement to like hitchhike back to Johannesburg and back, just to go to the club on the weekend and get totally smashed or drugged up, and then come back to the naval headquarters and continue. And it was in that time I became, it was in that time this happened to me, and I prayed. And I went home the next night. I hitchhiked all the way down there because I was in naval uniform. And when I got there that night, I was in my room, and there was a knock on the door. Because I prayed the night before, and I said, right, I'm ready. That day, when I went home, there was a knock on my mother's door, and I looked through and I could see it was the witnesses. Because we've been avoiding them for 11 years. And that day, I opened the door. And this guy stepped in. His name was Mervyn Preston. Do you know him?
I can't say.
Oh my Lord, he was the most beautiful person I've met in my life. He was uneducated, unaccomplished. He had nothing. He was very poor. He lived in Jeppe, but he was so dedicated to the organization. He'll love this organization. Merv, in Bethel, they used to call him Marvelous Merville Preston. Do you know he knew the Let God Be True book off by heart?
Hmm.
He had that kind of memory. He used to give Bible studies. Anyway, the thing is, let me tell you this last part of the story. Is it okay if I tell you?
Gavin,
Another time.
I'm going to put you on pause.
Right, I will see you all
and
later. I will come on later and have a chat with you.
Please
Okay?
please do, Gavin. But let's put you on pause. That sounds like a good place
You put me on pause, Matthew, because my friend Adriana told me about you. He says, dude, you got to go check out this guy's Matthew. He says, listen, it can get convoluted sometimes. He says, but just be patient. Don't give up on him. Just keep listening. And then I come on your channel the one day. And
Gavin,
I thought, yes. And I thought,
could
oh,
you
my
introduce
Lord.
Sheila just with some closing words? I'm going to let you be the chairman. You introduce Sheila. Could you do that for me?
Who is Sheila? A new lady?
It's the lady that's waiting here in the.
You want me to introduce you, Sheila?
Can you hear?
Yes.
Can you hear Sheila?
Yes, I
Yes.
can.
Please
Yes.
introduce her just so that she can come up with some final words.
Well, well, Sheila, because you've been sitting there so patiently, I think there are some elements you have enjoyed, haven't you? Because you've got a smile on your face, and that's what's important. Okay, you know, and you might have felt a little bit uncomfortable because I was talking so much, but you seem to have relaxed. Is there anything you'd like to say as a sort of closing statement?
Welcome to the channel, Gavin. It's been very, very interesting listening to you.
Mm.
You brought up some very good points, and from the chat, people have enjoyed it too.
Yes, because
And
I
I
think
hope that you join us again.
yes, we must never denigrate our worship to God.
No.
Just because we were one of Jehovah's Witnesses doesn't mean we weren't serving God. It doesn't mean God didn't notice us. I think what God was doing was teaching us a lesson to never follow men.
I think he's been poking me quite a while to wake up.
That's it, because that's the lesson you learn, you see. And it's like Moses had to go into the wilderness for 40 years. It took me 40 years to learn the lesson that the only man you must follow is Jesus Christ.
It took me longer than that, but that's, that's another story. But it's been very nice having you, and thank you, Matthew.
And likewise, Sheila, Gavin, thank you very much. And thank you to everybody in the chat. I think of Linda James, I think of Sue as well, and many more that have joined our open circle. So thank you very much. You are the reason we are here. Thank you very much, and please go well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.